A deep stillness hangs in the evening air, the kind of silence that makes every breath feel heavy. The sky glows a dull orange as the sun sinks behind the western hills, washing the world in a fading, melancholy light. The highway stretches endlessly in both directions, cracked and lonely, its faded yellow lines swallowed by creeping shadows. An old bus sits parked at the side of the road. Rust has eaten through its metal skin, leaving reddish streaks that look almost like dried blood under the sunset's glow. Its number 317 is barely visible on the side, half covered by years of grime. The headlights flicker weakly, struggling against the thick veil of fog that creeps out from the forest on either side. There are no sounds here. No birds calling from the trees. No hum of insects. No whisper of wind. Only the faint, almost unreal echo of something far away, something that might be alive, or might only be imagined. This is where the lost bus begins. The bus belongs to a small local transport company that runs late-night routes through the Colorado mountains. Tonight, it's headed from Denver to a small, remote town called Winterale, a quiet community tucked between snow-covered peaks and forgotten roads. For most, it's just another trip through the mountains. But for the people boarding this particular bus, the journey will become something far more terrifying. The passengers file in one by one, bundled in coats and scarves against the cold night air. Each carries their own story, their own fears, and their own secret reason for traveling this lonely route. At the front sits Carl Peterson, the driver, an older man in his late 50s with tired eyes and a graying beard. His hands are steady on the steering wheel, but there's a quiet unease in the way he keeps glancing at the rear-view mirror, as though he expects to see something behind him. Carl has been driving this road for decades, yet tonight feels different. The air feels heavier. The light dimmer. And as the bus engine rumbles to life, he mutters under his breath something about this stretch of road being cursed. Among the passengers is Emma Wright, a college student in her early 20s with sharp eyes and a curious mind. She sits near the middle of the bus, headphones around her neck, her phone clutched in her hands. She's traveling to Winterale to visit a friend, but also to clear her head after a rough semester. She tells herself it's just a trip, just a few hours of quiet. But she can't shake the strange feeling that she shouldn't have come. Behind her sits Daniel Cross, a young journalist chasing stories about urban legends and unsolved mysteries. He's the kind of man who doesn't believe in ghosts but loves writing about them. His laptop is open on his knees, the glow of the screen lighting up his thoughtful face as he scrolls through old articles about disappearances in the Rockies. 2 rows back, Helen Briggs occupies a window seat with her teenage son, Ethan. Helen looks exhausted, her hair pulled into a messy bun, eyes lined with fatigue. She's a single mother, working 2 jobs to support her boy. This trip is supposed to be a short vacation, a break from the noise of the city. Near the rear of the bus sits Marcus Hale, a retired soldier with a square jaw and haunted eyes. He carries a duffel bag at his feet and stares out the window in silence. Every now and then, his fingers twitch, as if remembering the weight of a gun he no longer holds. At first glance, they're just strangers sharing a journey through the night. But as time will soon reveal, their paths are woven together by something none of them can see. As the bus leaves the city lights behind, the road narrows into the wilderness. The trees grow taller and closer, their branches knitting together above the highway like dark hands trying to keep the night in. The hum of the engine becomes the only sound. Carl speaks without turning his head. "Strange things happen out here," he says quietly. "Accidents. Sightings. GPS never works past the old bridge. Some say it's the mountains, some say it's something else." His words hang in the air, half joking, half warning. The passengers chuckle softly, thinking it's just an old driver's superstition. But Carl's face remains serious, his eyes locked on the winding road ahead. The fog begins to thicken as they climb higher. The forest presses in on both sides, the bus headlights carving narrow tunnels through the mist. Then the radio crackles. At first, it's just static, harmless background noise. But after a moment, faint voices slip through the distortion. Whispers. A few words in a language no one can quite make out. Emma looks up from her phone, frowning. Daniel leans forward, curious. Carl adjusts the dial, but the voices only grow stronger, urgent, almost pleading, and then vanish as suddenly as they came. Silence falls again, heavier than before. Minutes later, there's a loud thud against the windshield. Carl curses and slams on the brakes. The bus jerks violently, throwing everyone forward. Heartbeats quicken. Someone screams. Then everything goes still. The headlights flicker weakly in the fog. Carl steps out with Marcus to check, their flashlights sweeping across the wet asphalt. There's nothing there, no animal, no debris, no trace of an impact. Only the whispering of the wind through the trees. They return to the bus in uneasy silence. Carl starts the engine again, pretending calm, but his knuckles are white around the wheel. The journey continues. Not long after, the flickering lights return. The GPS screen goes black. Emma checks her phone, no signal. The road bends sharply to the left, and when Carl turns, the tires skid. The bus slides sideways, slamming into a ditch with a metallic shriek. For a moment, there's chaos, shouts, breaking glass, heavy breathing. Then silence. The engine sputters once, twice, and dies. They're stranded. Outside, the fog is so thick it looks like smoke. The forest looms over them, silent and endless. The air feels colder. Emma glances at her watch, it's just past midnight. We should wait for morning, Carl says, his voice trembling slightly. Nearest town's 15 miles or so. No sense wandering blind. So they wait. Time crawls. The temperature drops. The bus creaks with every gust of wind. Someone swears they saw movement outside, a figure standing still among the trees. Then comes the sound. Footsteps. Slow. Circling the bus. Victor, a nervous man sitting near the front, points out the window. There's someone out there, he whispers. But when Marcus goes to check, there's no one. Only footprints in the mud leading away into the woods, prints that stop suddenly, as if the person vanished mid-step. When he returns, he finds something carved into the bus door, a symbol strange, circular, and old. No one recognizes it. No one sleeps that night. When dawn finally breaks, the fog remains. Pale light filters through the mist, revealing something even more disturbing: the road behind them is gone. Where there should be asphalt, there's only dirt and tangled roots. It's as if the highway never existed. Panic spreads quickly. Emma starts recording with her phone, trying to document what's happening. Daniel opens his laptop, searching for clues. He finds an old local article from 20 years ago, a bus that vanished on this same route. The number of that bus? 317. The screen flickers. The laptop dies. They decide to walk. They move through the forest, calling out, searching for help. The fog grows thicker, swallowing their voices. Hours pass, but the trees never change. Every direction looks the same. When they turn back, the bus is gone. Only tire marks remain in the mud, leading nowhere. That's when the voices start. Soft at first, familiar, almost comforting. Each person hears someone different. Helen hears her son calling from the woods, though he's right beside her. Marcus hears the voice of a fallen comrade whispering his name. Emma hears her late father saying, "Come home." Terror builds quietly. They begin to question what's real. As night falls again, they stumble upon a small cabin half hidden by the trees. Inside, dust hangs thick in the air. The walls are covered in photographs, grainy, black and white images pinned carelessly, curling at the edges. They recognize the faces. Every photo shows them the passengers taken at moments during their trip when they thought no one was watching. Some even show them sleeping on the bus. But the most disturbing ones show them standing in this very cabin. Carl breaks down. He admits that 20 years ago, his brother was the driver of the original bus 317 that vanished. Tonight, he took this route again to find answers, to face the truth. "I thought maybe, if I came back, I'd understand what happened to him," he says, voice shaking. "But I think this place, this forest, it doesn't let go." Before anyone can respond, a deep, echoing horn sounds through the woods. The bus is back. Lights flashing, door open, engine idling like it's been waiting all along. They climb aboard. And the nightmare begins again. The bus door hisses open, letting out a low breath of cold mist. The sound is strangely alive, like an exhale from something buried beneath the earth. No one moves at first. They stand in the fog, frozen between fear and the desperate hope of escape. The bus sits there, headlights glowing dimly through the white haze, waiting. Carl steps forward first. His face is pale, his hands trembling as he reaches for the railing. "It's our only shelter," he says quietly, his voice rough. "We can't stay out here. The cold will kill us." Marcus narrows his eyes. "That thing wasn't here a minute ago," he mutters. "You saw it, it was gone." "I saw it too," Emma adds, her breath visible in the freezing air. "But, maybe we just got turned around. Maybe this is another road, another bus." They all know that's a lie. But in the face of fear, lies can feel like comfort. One by one, they climb back inside. The seats are cold and damp. The air smells faintly of rust and rain. A few drops of water slide down the windows, though it isn't raining outside. Carl sits behind the wheel again. He inserts the key, it turns easily. The engine starts on the first try. That should be impossible. The headlights cut through the fog, revealing the road ahead. The same cracked asphalt. The same faded yellow lines. The same silence. Carl drives. No one speaks. The bus hums quietly as it rolls forward through the endless white. Minutes pass. Then hours. But outside, nothing changes. Emma watches the forest slide past through her window. Every tree looks identical. Every bend in the road feels familiar. She checks her phone again, no signal, just the same static noise playing faintly through the speakers. She turns to Daniel. "You're recording this, right?" He nods, camera in hand. His voice is steady, but his eyes betray fear. "I'm not sure it matters anymore," he says. "Every file I save keeps disappearing. Like something's deleting them." Emma frowns. "How's that even possible?" He doesn't answer. At the front, Carl leans closer to the windshield. His eyes widen. "No," he whispers. Ahead of them, through the fog, another bus appears, identical in every way. Same number. Same color. Same dents. Even the license plate is the same. Carl slows down, heart pounding. As they approach, the other bus seems abandoned. Its windows are dark. Its door hangs open. Marcus grips the seat in front of him. "It's us," he says quietly. "That's our bus." Carl shakes his head, but he knows it's true. He stops beside it. The two vehicles face each other like mirrors. The fog drifts lazily between them, swallowing everything beyond. Emma gets up slowly. "Maybe there's someone inside," she says. "Don't," Marcus warns. But she steps down anyway, her shoes crunching on the gravel. The air feels thick, heavy with electricity. She walks to the door of the other bus and peers inside. Empty seats. Broken glass. The faint sound of breathing that isn't hers. Then she sees something, a reflection in the driver's mirror. It's Carl. But not their Carl. This one is slumped over the wheel, dead eyes staring straight ahead. Emma stumbles back, gasping. "We have to go. Now." Carl floors the gas. The bus lurches forward, tires spinning. The other bus vanishes in the fog as if it was never there. Behind them, faint laughter echoes soft, childlike, distant. Ethan grabs his mother's arm. "Mom," he whispers, "someone's calling my name." Helen hugs him tight. "Don't listen," she says, voice trembling. "Whatever it is, don't answer." Hours later, they stop again. Not because they want to but because the bus stops itself. The engine cuts off. The lights die. Everything falls into pitch-black silence. Carl tries the ignition. Nothing. Then, slowly, the interior lights flicker back on dim, yellow, almost candle-like. The seats behind them are no longer empty. Figures sit in the shadows. Motionless. Unfamiliar. Emma counts them: 1, 2, 3, 7. There are 7 extra people. None of them move. Carl whispers, "Who are they?" No one answers. Then one of the figures turns its head. Its face is blurred, like static on a broken screen. Its mouth opens slightly, and a faint voice seeps out, "We never left." The lights flicker again, and they're gone. Ethan starts crying softly. Helen holds him close, whispering comfort she doesn't believe. Marcus grips his duffel bag and checks the window outside. The forest seems alive. The trees bend slightly, as though watching them. Daniel types rapidly on his laptop, desperate to document every detail. "It's a loop," he says. "A time distortion, or something worse. We're caught between versions of the same night." Carl looks at him through the rearview mirror. "Then how do we stop it?" Daniel doesn't answer. The next time the bus stops, they find a sign on the roadside. It's old and rusted, the letters barely visible beneath layers of moss. Emma wipes it clean with her sleeve. The words send chills down her spine. "Welcome to Winterale Population 317. Carl steps back, his breath shaking. "That number," he says. "That's the bus number." The sign creaks in the wind. The fog grows thicker again, curling around their feet like fingers. They get back on the bus, but something feels off. The seats are rearranged. The driver's mirror is cracked. The odometer reads a number they've never seen before, 000317. "We've been here before," Emma says softly. No one argues. That night, they dream. In their dreams, they're still on the bus, but the windows show flashes of memories they never lived. Emma sees herself as a child, waving from a bus window. Marcus sees himself in uniform, sitting beside a coffin draped in a flag. Helen dreams of an accident, her son's scream echoing through the fog. They wake up at the same time, gasping for air. Outside, dawn has come again. Or maybe it hasn't. The light is strange, too white, too quiet. Daniel opens the door slowly and steps out. The forest hums faintly, like 1,000 whispers layered together. He kneels and touches the ground. The dirt is warm. Then he sees it: footprints. The same ones from last night. Only now, they lead in circles. A loop. Emma walks ahead and finds a clearing. In the center stands an old wooden signpost with arrows pointing in every direction. Each arrow bears the same word, burned into the wood: Winterale. She turns back to the group. "No matter where we go," she says, "we end up here." Carl slumps against the bus, exhausted. "Then maybe the only way out is through." Marcus glances toward the trees. "Through what?" A voice answers from the fog. "Through remembrance." They spin around. No one is there. But the voice continues, soft and familiar: "Carl's brother. You drove the same road I did. You couldn't let go. Neither could we." Carl falls to his knees. Tears blur his vision. "I just wanted to find you." "You did," the voice replies. "Now drive us home." Carl climbs back into the driver's seat. His hands are shaking, but he starts the engine one last time. The bus groans, the headlights flare, and the road ahead glows faintly like a path made of light cutting through the fog. They drive. The forest fades. The night begins to unravel. For the first time, Emma feels warmth on her skin. Sunlight. Real sunlight. Then the radio crackles. "This is Winterrail Transit Control," a voice says. "Bus 317, do you copy?" Carl grabs the mic. "We hear you," he says. "We're coming in." Static fills the cabin, followed by the voice again, colder this time. "Bus 317, you've been missing for 20 years. Everyone stares at the radio. The light outside disappears. The fog closes in once more. And the loop begins again. The silence after the radio call feels like a living thing. It presses against the walls of the bus, crawling into every breath, every heartbeat. The passengers sit frozen, eyes wide, trying to understand what they've just heard. "Missing for 20 years, Emma whispers. "That can't be right." Carl's hands tremble on the wheel. "It's a mistake," he mutters. "It has to be. We left Denver last night. We were supposed to reach Winterrail before dawn." Marcus, calm but tense, leans forward. "Carl, what year is it?" Carl blinks. "What kind of question is that?" Marcus points at the dashboard clock. The digital numbers flicker weakly, then settle on a date, April 3, 2005. Emma gasps. "That's impossible." Daniel stares at the screen, his mind racing. "We're not in the present anymore. The loop isn't just a place, it's time folding on itself." Helen clutches her son. Ethan's lips are pale. His small voice trembles. "Mom, I want to go home." She strokes his hair. "We will, sweetheart. I promise." But even as she says it, her voice cracks. The bus hums softly again. The engine purrs, waiting for direction. Outside, the fog parts just enough to reveal a dirt road leading deeper into the forest. The air seems to shimmer with faint light, like heat rising from the ground. "We keep driving," Carl says, his voice hollow. "If there's an end to this, we'll find it." As the bus moves forward, the trees begin to change. Their bark darkens, twisting into unnatural shapes. Some look almost human, arms stretched toward the sky, faces frozen in silent screams. Emma presses her face against the glass. "Do you see that?" she whispers. Daniel nods. "It's like they're trapped." "Trapped where?" Marcus asks. Daniel swallows hard. "Between." The word hangs heavy in the air. Carl grips the steering wheel tighter. Every few minutes, he glances in the mirror, and every time he does, he sees someone new sitting among the passengers. Sometimes it's his brother. Sometimes it's a stranger. Sometimes it's himself. He stops looking. Hours or maybe minutes pass before they reach a clearing. At its center stands an old church, half buried in moss and shadow. Its wooden cross leans crookedly. The windows are shattered. The door creaks in the wind. Carl kills the engine. "This is it," he says. "This is where the old bus was last seen." No one argues. They step out one by one, feet sinking into damp soil. The air smells of rain and old wood. The forest has gone quiet again, too quiet. Marcus pushes the church door open. It groans, echoing like a sigh from something ancient. Inside, the air is thick with dust. Broken pews line the floor, and old candles sit melted into pools of wax. A single bell hangs from the ceiling, still swaying slightly as if touched by unseen hands. On the altar lies a pile of papers, yellowed, torn, and covered in faded ink. Daniel picks one up and reads aloud. "Bus 317. 7 passengers. 1 driver. Lost during the storm. No survivors found." He flips the page. Beneath it is a photo, black and white, grainy and unmistakable. It's them. Every face, every seat, every detail matches perfectly. Emma backs away, shaking her head. No. No, that's not possible. Someone planted this. Daniel looks at her, eyes full of dread. Planted it 20 years ago. A sudden noise shatters the silence, a heavy bang from outside. The bus door slams shut on its own. The headlights flash twice, then go dark. Carl rushes out, yelling, "No! Don't you do this!" The others follow. The bus engine roars back to life, even though no one's inside. Its wheels spin, churning the dirt, before it reverses violently into the forest. It disappears into the fog. Ethan clings to his mother's leg. "Mom, where's the bus going?" Helen's lips quiver. "I don't know, baby." Marcus kneels, inspecting the tracks. "It's heading back. The same way we came." Emma whispers, "Back into the loop." Without warning, the church bell rings. Once. Twice. 3 times. The sound is deafening, echoing through the valley. The ground trembles. The trees sway. And then the fog begins to move, not like mist in the wind, but like something alive, curling and crawling toward them. Inside. Carl shouts. They run into the church, slamming the door behind them. The fog slams against the walls like waves hitting a shore. The wood creaks under the pressure. Through the small window, Emma sees shapes moving inside the mist, silhouettes of people, hundreds of them, walking slowly, aimlessly. She realizes they're passengers from every lost bus, every missing car, every vanished traveler swallowed by this cursed road. Daniel whispers, "They're the ones who never escaped." The bell rings again, and a whisper fills the room, hundreds of voices overlapping. "Stay with us." The air turns cold enough to sting their skin. Candles relight themselves with blue flames. Carl drops to his knees in front of the altar. "What do you want from us?" he cries. The whisper grows louder. "Remembrance." The candles flicker violently. Emma looks down at the photo still in Daniel's hand. Something new has appeared on it. The date beneath the image has changed to April 3, 2025. 20 years later. She stares in disbelief. "That's today." Marcus turns toward her. "Maybe that's what this place is doing. It's merging every lost moment, past, present, and future. Time doesn't move here. It folds." Carl shakes his head. "Then how do we get out?" The whisper stops. For a long moment, there is only silence. Then, from the altar, the melted candles flare white and the cross behind them bursts into flames. In the fire, an image forms, a bus sinking slowly into fog, its passengers staring out the windows, frozen in terror. Carl's voice breaks. "That's us." Emma steps closer. "Then maybe the only way out is to break the loop." Daniel looks around desperately. "Break it how?" "We can't fight fog." "Not fog," Marcus says quietly. "Memory." They turn toward him. "If this place feeds on people who can't let go, on guilt, grief, unfinished stories, then we have to finish ours. Face what we're running from." Emma nods slowly. "Carl, your brother. That's why you came back." Carl's eyes fill with tears. "I never said goodbye." The wind howls outside, shaking the windows. Emma closes her eyes. "Then say it now." Carl kneels again, voice trembling. "I'm sorry, David. I should have been there that night. I should have stopped you from driving that route." The flames burn brighter, almost blinding. The whispers fade. And then, just for a moment, Carl hears his brother's voice, clear, calm, and kind. "You did, Carl. You always did." The fire dies. The fog outside begins to lift. For the first time, they can see sunlight streaming through the trees. Daniel rushes to the door and opens it. The air smells fresh, real. The forest looks alive again, green and bright. Carl wipes his eyes. Did it work? Emma steps outside and looks down the road. The bus is there, parked neatly on the shoulder, waiting. Its paint is clean. The number 317 gleams in the sunlight. She smiles weakly. Maybe it did. They climb aboard, hearts hopeful for the first time in days. The engine starts smoothly. The radio crackles once, then settles into a soft hum of music. They drive toward the horizon, toward the town that might finally be real. But as the forest fades behind them, Emma glances back and sees a figure standing at the edge of the trees. A man in a driver's uniform. Smiling. It's Carl's brother. He raises his hand in farewell, and then he's gone. The road wound like a scar through the forest, narrow and cracked, its faded lines vanishing under years of neglect. The sun had begun to slip behind the ridge, bleeding orange light through the trees. Inside the van, the air was thick with the low hum of the engine and the silence that neither Marcus nor Emma dared to break. It had been 3 hours since the last word passed between them. A fight, small, stupid, like all the others lately, still hung in the air. Something about the directions. Or maybe it was never really about that. Marcus gripped the steering wheel tighter, jaw locked. He told himself that the weekend trip was supposed to help them reconnect. No phones. No distractions. Just them and the quiet of the mountains. But now, staring at the endless tunnel of trees, he wasn't sure if isolation was what they needed, or the last thing they could handle. Emma sat beside him, head turned toward the window. Her reflection stared back from the glass-tired eyes, a faint tremor in her lip. She could still hear the voice from the rest stop. The man at the gas station had smiled too long, his eyes following her even as she walked away. "You two heading up to Ridge Hollow?" he'd asked. "Place has a way of showing people what they don't want to see." She'd laughed it off then. But now, in the thinning light, the words crawled back into her thoughts. The GPS had died an hour ago. No signal. No service. Just the rhythmic scrape of gravel beneath the tires. Then, static. Marcus glanced at the radio. It wasn't even on. The sound leaked faintly through the speakers, whispery, distant. Like someone trying to speak through water. He turned the knob, but the static deepened, shifting in tone until it almost sounded like Marcus. He froze. Emma turned to him. "What did you say?" He shook his head. "Nothing. Thought you." But she wasn't looking at him anymore. Her eyes were fixed on the forest, where the last streaks of light were fading between the trunks. Something inside him twisted. A name. A memory. The battlefield smell of smoke and iron. A voice he hadn't heard in years. "Marcus," the radio whispered again. This time, he knew the voice. It was Tom's. His friend. His brother in arms. The one who died in front of him. Marcus slammed the radio off. Silence. Except for the pounding in his chest. Emma's voice trembled. "It said your name. It's interference. Probably the tower." "There are no towers out here." For a long moment, neither spoke. The forest thickened on both sides, the road narrowing to a tunnel of shadow. Marcus pressed harder on the gas, wanting distance from whatever had just happened. But the feeling stayed like they weren't alone in the van. By the time they reached the cabin, night had settled like a weight over the woods. The building stood crooked and half-sunken in the earth, its windows clouded with dust. A single porch light flickered weakly, powered by some unseen generator that coughed every few seconds. Emma stepped out first. The air was colder than it should have been. Sharp. Still. She looked up at the trees, dozens of them, leaning in like a crowd. Marcus unloaded their bags, forcing a grin. It's just for a weekend. We'll make it work. But as she followed him inside, she couldn't shake the feeling that the woods were holding their breath. And in the stillness behind them, deep in the forest, a faint mechanical click echoed. Like the shutter of a camera. The cabin's interior smelled of old wood and damp air, a century of rain and rot trapped inside the walls. Dust motes hung in the glow of a single bulb, floating lazily as Marcus flipped the switch near the door. The light buzzed, flickered, then steadied. "Charming," Emma murmured, dropping her bag by the couch. The leather sagged, its stuffing half gone. The whole place felt like it had been left mid-breath, waiting for someone to exhale again. Marcus forced a small laugh. Could be worse. At least there's power. He found an old fuse box near the kitchen. The labels were faded, written in a hand that trembled: living/hall/upstairs/outer shed. That last one made him pause. There was no shed outside, not that he'd seen. Emma walked slowly through the cabin, fingers brushing the dust-coated furniture. Her reflection followed her in the darkened windows, a pale double moving half a second too slow. She told herself it was just her imagination. Just nerves. But something about the house felt aware. Not malevolent exactly, just watchful. Marcus started a small fire in the hearth. The orange light softened the room, and for the first time that evening, it felt almost human again. They opened a bottle of wine, ate from the bag of groceries they'd brought: bread, cheese, fruit, the simplest comfort they could manage. For a while, they didn't talk about the voice. But silence, in a place like that, doesn't last long. At first, Emma thought she heard the wind. A faint sound, rising and falling through the walls. Then she realized it wasn't outside. It was in the next room. Whispering. She froze, the glass trembling in her hand. "Marcus!" He looked up. "What? Do you hear that?" They both listened. The sound faded, then returned. Not a word this time, just breath. Slow, deliberate, too human to be the house settling. Marcus grabbed a flashlight and stepped toward the hallway. The beam cut across the wallpaper, old, peeling, patterned with faint floral ghosts. The whispers stopped. He pushed open the door to the next room. Empty. A bedroom. Dust-covered mirror. Broken lamp. He took one step inside and the radio on the kitchen counter came alive behind him. Emma screamed. Marcus ran back. The radio hissed and crackled, though it wasn't plugged in. Then the voice came again, low, muffled, warped by static. "Marcus, why did you leave me?" He froze. The voice was Tom's again, distorted, echoing from somewhere between memory and static. Emma covered her mouth, tears welling. "Who is that?" He didn't answer. Couldn't. The fire popped loudly, making them both jump. He yanked the radio's batteries out, slammed it shut. Silence. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath again. Then the power flickered, once, twice, and went out. The fire dimmed, leaving only faint orange shadows licking the walls. Emma's voice was small. "Marcus, what's happening?" He sat down hard on the floor, the flashlight beam trembling in his hand. "It's nothing. Just some kind of interference. Maybe the batteries." "Don't lie." He looked up. Her eyes were wide, wet, and furious. "You know that voice," she said quietly. "You've heard it before." He said nothing. Outside, the wind had stopped entirely. The forest was silent, no crickets, no rustle, just a void pressing against the windows. And from somewhere inside the walls, faintly, came a sound neither of them wanted to name. The slow, deliberate click of a camera shutter. The morning brought no comfort. Marcus woke to the grey light of dawn pressing against the curtains. The air was heavy, unmoving. For a moment, he couldn't remember where he was. The smell of ash and damp wood, the uneven ceiling above him. Then it returned. The trip. The cabin. The voice. Emma wasn't beside him. He sat up quickly, calling her name. No answer. The door to the bedroom stood half open, and from beyond it came the faint creak of floorboards. He followed the sound into the hallway. Emma was standing by the living room window, still in her sleep clothes, her face pale and hollow. She didn't turn when he spoke. "They're outside," she whispered. He froze. "Who?" "Look." He stepped beside her and peered through the grimy glass. Nothing but trees. Thick trunks fading into mist. The kind of fog that swallows sound. "Emma, there's no one." She pointed to the ground beneath the window. "There. Footprints." He followed her gaze. In the damp earth below, a trail of prints led from the treeline to the porch, clear, deliberate, and ending just beneath the window where they stood. Marcus's mouth went dry. He opened the door and stepped outside, boots sinking into the mud. The prints were deep. Recent. But what chilled him most was the size. They weren't his. And they weren't Emma's. When he looked up, the forest loomed impossibly still, the air dense enough to feel. The silence pressed in on him until his ears rang. For a second, he thought he saw movement between the trees, something shifting, slow and upright. But when he blinked, it was gone. Inside, Emma was pacing. "Someone's been watching us. I felt it last night." "You heard the shudder too?" "Maybe it's a hunter," he said, though his voice betrayed him. She shot him a look, sharp, pleading. "You don't believe that?" He didn't. The rest of the day passed in fragments. They searched the cabin, looking for anything, a clue, a footprint, a face behind the glass. In the upstairs room, Marcus found a box beneath the bed. Inside, dozens of photographs. At first, they were ordinary landscape shots. The woods. The cabin. Then he turned one over. It was of them. Emma asleep on the bus, head against the window. Marcus refueling the van. Emma walking toward the rest stop, the stranger watching from behind the counter. Every photo was from the past 3 days, taken from angles neither of them could have noticed. Emma's hand shook as she flipped through them. "Marcus, these are from this trip." He said nothing. His stomach turned cold. She pulled one more from the bottom of the box and froze. It was taken inside the cabin. Marcus and Emma, asleep on the couch, the fire burning low. The date scribbled on the back, last night. Her breath hitched. "We need to leave. Now." He didn't argue. They packed in silence, shoving clothes into bags with trembling hands. But when they stepped outside, the forest was thick with fog, erasing the road. The van sat under a blanket of dew and the tires were slashed. Emma dropped her bag. "Marcus." Something moved in the mist. Not a person, just a shadow, formless, retreating between the trees. He called out, his voice echoing strangely. No answer. Just a whisper carried by the wind, a voice that sounded almost like his own. "Don't leave yet." Emma backed toward the cabin, shaking her head. "We're not alone." Marcus turned, and through the fog, for a fraction of a second, he saw himself standing among the trees. Then it was gone. The prints around the cabin had multiplied. A dozen pairs now, circling the building in perfect rings. The fog never lifted. It clung to the cabin like a second skin, muting the world to a dull, endless hum. Marcus and Emma sat in silence, watching the fire burn itself down to embers. Every few minutes, the wood cracked sharp, like a gunshot in the quiet. They hadn't spoken since they found the photographs. Words had become useless. The truth was heavier than sound. Emma stared into the flames, her voice small. "It's him, isn't it?" The voice. Marcus looked up. "Who?" "The one from the radio. The one from your past." He hesitated, then nodded once. There was no point in denying it anymore. His name was Tom, he said. We served together overseas. He didn't make it back. Her eyes softened. You blame yourself. He laughed bitterly. I should. It was my call that got him killed. Wrong coordinates. Wrong time. We were pinned down, and I told him to move. He ran a hand through his hair, trembling. They said it wasn't my fault. But I still hear him sometimes. Calling out. Asking why I left him there. The firelight flickered over his face, carving deep lines into the exhaustion. Emma reached for his hand. Marcus, that's not what this is. Grief doesn't. Her words died. From the corner of the room came a faint sound, a low click, then another. Like someone taking pictures. Marcus grabbed the flashlight and swung it toward the noise. The beam landed on the far wall, illuminating a dozen photographs pinned there, new ones. They hadn't been there an hour ago. Each photo showed them in the cabin. Some blurred, some crystal clear. In every single one, their faces were turned slightly away as if the photographer had caught them just before they looked. And then Emma noticed something worse. In the last photo, the newest, Marcus wasn't in it. Just her. Sitting by the fire. Alone. Her throat tightened. Marcus. But when she turned, the space beside her was empty. The flashlight fell to the floor, rolling until its beam swung wildly across the walls. Marcus's voice came from the darkness, distant, wrong somehow. Emma. She backed toward the door. Where are you? He stepped into the light, or what looked like him. His clothes, his face, but too still, too composed. His eyes didn't blink. She whispered, You're not real. He tilted his head. Neither are you. The world seemed to tilt. The firelight flickered, warping the cabin into something unfamiliar, walls stretching, photos shifting, faces blurring into smoke. The air grew heavy, vibrating like a pulse. Then silence. Marcus blinked. He was outside. The fog was gone. Morning light filtered through the trees, pale and thin. The van sat where they'd left it, untouched. He looked around. Emma. No answer. Just the forest breathing quietly. He ran back to the cabin, empty. No photos. No footprints. No sign anyone had been there at all. On the table sat a single photograph. It showed Marcus alone in the woods, eyes unfocused, standing beside an unmarked grave. His own handwriting on the back. You said this trip would help you forget. His hand shook. He dropped the photo and stumbled outside, gasping for air. The forest stretched endlessly in every direction, identical no matter where he looked. And then, faintly, from the distance, a voice he knew too well. Marcus, time to wake up. He turned toward the sound. The trees swayed, their shadows shifting into silhouettes of people, a dozen of them, faces hidden, watching. Among them, one figure stepped forward. Tom. Not mangled, not ghostly, just as he'd been, before the war. Calm. Unblinking. Marcus whispered, I'm sorry. Tom smiled faintly. You already said that. The woods dimmed. The wind stilled. The world folded inward like paper. And when it unfolded again, the cabin was empty. Only the photographs remained, pinned neatly to the walls. In the last one, Marcus stood by the fire, staring into nothing. Behind him, the faint outline of Emma lingered in the glass reflection, eyes open, watching him still. The fog didn't lift. It thickened, a white wall pressed against the windows, swallowing the cabin whole. Every sound felt dampened, muffled. The world had become smaller, reduced to the flicker of the fire and the whisper of their breath. Marcus sat on the edge of the couch, staring into the flames that refused to die. His reflection danced in the window behind them, warped and shifting, as if the glass was breathing. Emma sat across from him, arms wrapped around her knees. Her voice was quiet, hoarse from crying. "You knew this place," she said. He didn't answer. The truth pressed behind his ribs like broken glass. "Marcus," she whispered. "You brought us here for a reason, didn't you?" He looked up slowly. "No." But the word rang hollow even to him. Emma turned her gaze to the photos spread across the table. There were more now, dozens, hundreds, maybe, all showing them in different rooms, from impossible angles. Some were in black and white. Some looked aged, like they'd been taken years ago. And in every picture, Marcus looked older. She picked one up and held it under the lamplight. "Why do you look different in this?" He frowned. "What?" She handed it to him. In the photo, he was standing by the fireplace, face drawn, eyes sunken, wearing the same clothes he wore now. Only the photograph looked decades old, the paper yellowed, edges curled. A chill ran through him. "That's not possible." Emma's breathing quickened. "Marcus, what if we've been here before?" He shook his head hard. "No. You're tired. We're both tired. We need to rest, and in the morning." "There is no morning," she said. "Look outside." He turned. The window was white. Not fog, not really. Something denser. A haze that seemed to pulse faintly, as if alive. He stepped closer, but the glass showed no reflection. No trees. No sky. Just endless blankness. Behind him, Emma whispered, "I can hear him again." Marcus froze. "Tom." Her voice was so soft, it barely rose above the crackle of the fire. "He's outside." He spun around. "Don't say that name." She looked up at him, eyes glistening. "He keeps asking for you." Marcus's heart pounded. "Stop." But she went on, trembling. "He says you left him. Says you promised you'd come back. You told me that story once, the one you never finished. The ambush. The explosion. You said." "Stop it." He slammed his fist into the table, scattering the photos. A few drifted into the fire, curling black. The air trembled. From the walls came a faint click. Then another. The sound was deliberate, measured, and close. Emma backed away. "It's happening again." Marcus grabbed the flashlight, sweeping it across the room. Shadows warped and stretched, bending in unnatural ways. One of them, tall and narrow, didn't move when the light hit it. "Who's there?" No answer. He stepped closer. The shadow shivered, detaching itself from the wall, forming a vague human outline. The light sputtered, and for a fraction of a second, Marcus saw a face inside the darkness, pale, familiar, eyes hollow. "Tom." Marcus stumbled back, the flashlight clattering to the floor. "No, no, you're not real." The figure didn't move. Its mouth twitched, opening slightly. "Why did you leave me?" The words came not as sound but as vibration, a voice he felt in his bones. Emma screamed. The lights flickered out, plunging them into darkness. The fire flared once, revealing just for a heartbeat the entire cabin covered in photographs, every wall plastered with images of Marcus's face, each one twisted in grief or fear. And then, blackness. When the light returned, Emma was gone. The fire had burned down to embers. The fog outside had thinned, revealing faint shapes between the trees, silhouettes standing motionless, watching the cabin. Marcus called her name again and again, voice raw. No answer. He stumbled into the forest, the cold biting through his clothes. The silence was unbearable. No birds. No insects. Just the rhythmic crunch of his boots on the damp ground. Emma. The fog shifted. A figure emerged, small, fragile. She was standing among the trees, back turned to him. "Emma," he gasped, running toward her. She didn't move. When he reached her, she finally turned. Her face was pale, streaked with tears, but her eyes weren't her own. They were his. "You did this," she whispered. "You brought us here." Marcus shook his head violently. "No, no, I." But the world began to fold again, the trees bending inward, the ground rippling beneath his feet. His breath came ragged. The air was thick with smoke, now the same smell that haunted his dreams. The battlefield. The burning convoy. He saw it again, the explosion, the screams, the flash of light. Tom pinned beneath the wreckage, reaching out. Marcus running, deaf from the blast, leaving him behind. The sound of a shudder echoed once, twice. He opened his eyes. The forest was gone. He was back in the cabin. Alone. The photos on the walls had changed again, no longer of both of them. Only him. Him standing in the woods. Him screaming into the fog. Him kneeling beside something just out of frame. He turned slowly toward the fireplace. On the floor, half covered in ash, lay a photograph. It showed Emma lying still, eyes closed, her hand outstretched toward the camera. He picked it up with shaking hands. On the back, written in his handwriting, were 4 words. "I tried to save her." Marcus dropped to his knees. "No. No, I didn't." But the truth was already pressing in, merciless and quiet. He had brought her here. He had brought her to the place where his mind broke. The cabin wasn't a destination, it was a memory. A reconstruction of guilt. Outside, the fog began to thin, revealing morning light that wasn't real. Marcus stood slowly, tears streaking his face. "I'm sorry," he whispered. The camera clicked once more. And then nothing. When the light finally reached the cabin, it was empty. Only the photographs remained, fluttering in the breeze that slipped through the broken door. The last picture on the wall showed Marcus staring into the lens, expression calm, almost peaceful. Behind him, Emma's reflection lingered faintly in the window, watching. A winding forest road cuts through an endless canopy of pine and fog. The air hums with isolation. A battered bus snakes along the path, its wheels crunching gravel, headlights piercing mist. Inside, Marcus Hayes, 30s, ex-soldier, tense eyes, quiet strength, sits beside Emma Reed, 20s, wildlife photographer, curious, spirited, carrying a camera around her neck. They exchange a nervous smile. The bus is nearly empty. Bus driver, OS. Next stop. End of the line, folks. No turning back after this. The bus jerks to a stop. Marcus and Emma gather their things, backpacks, camping gear. They step off the bus into the silence of the woods. EXT forest trail continuous. The sound of the engine fades away, leaving nothing but the wind and distant crows. The trees stand tall, ancient and watching. Emma. Softly, in awe. It's even more beautiful than the photos. Marcus. Yet, beautiful and quiet. Too quiet. They start their hike along a narrow trail leading deeper into the forest. Marcus adjusts his backpack, scanning the horizon like a soldier on patrol. Emma raises her camera and snaps a few shots. Click. 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 She catches a blur movement behind a tree. She lowers her camera, eyes narrowing. Emma. Did you see that? Marcus. What? Emma. I don't know, someone maybe? He glances around, hand instinctively near his belt knife. Nothing but trees. Marcus. Probably an animal. Come on. EXT clearing, afternoon. A small clearing opens between the trees. They drop their packs. Marcus sets up the tent while Emma photographs mushrooms, bark textures, fallen branches. Emma. I love this. The air, the light. It feels untouched. Marcus. Untouched for a reason, maybe. Emma. Laughs. You really know how to ruin the mood. Marcus. Just saying, the map showed this place hasn't been used in years. There's no cell service, no radio signal. Emma. That's the point. No noise, no people, no distractions. Marcus half smiles, humoring her enthusiasm. EXT forest later. As the sun lowers, they wander farther from camp, following an old dirt path covered in moss. A faint sound, a whisper of movement, makes Marcus pause. Emma. You okay? Marcus. I thought I heard, never mind. They continue. Then a faint voice. Distant, familiar. Voice, OS. Marcus. Marcus freezes. Marcus. What the hell? Emma. What is it? He looks around, nothing. Just trees and the soft rustle of leaves. Marcus. It sounded like beat. Forget it. My mind's playing tricks. EXT camp night. A fire crackles. The forest hums with life, owls, crickets, the whisper of the wind. Emma scrolls through her camera. Every photo looks normal, until one. She zooms in. In the background of a photo behind Marcus stands a dark silhouette, barely visible among the trees. Her face tightens. Emma. Marcus. He looks up. Emma, can't d. This was from earlier today. But look behind you. Marcus leans closer. His expression darkens. Marcus. Could be a shadow. Emma. Or someone's following us. Marcus gets up, flashlight in hand, scanning the forest edge. Marcus. If anyone's out there, I'm not playing games. Silence. Only wind. He exhales and lowers the light. Marcus, can't d. We'll check in the morning. Emma reluctantly nods. Int. Tent night. They lie awake. The faint sound of branches snapping outside. A whispering wind. Emma turns toward Marcus. Emma. Do you ever feel like the forest is listening? Marcus. Always. Outside, something brushes the tent fabric. Scratch. Marcus sits up. Knife in hand. Marcus, can't d. There's something out there. Emma grips his arm, trembling. Emma. Maybe it's just an animal. Crack. A branch snaps, too heavy for an animal. They freeze. The sound fades into silence again. After a long pause, Marcus crawls to the tent flap and peers out, nothing but darkness. He zips it shut again, jaw tight. Marcus. Whatever it is, it's keeping its distance. Emma pulls the sleeping bag around herself, eyes open in the dark. EXT forest dawn. Fog rolls through the trees. The world feels muted, dreamlike. Marcus steps out of the tent, rubbing his eyes. He spots something in the dirt, footprints. Not theirs. They circle the camp, then vanish into the trees. Marcus. Emma, wake up. She stumbles out, yawning until she sees the prints. Emma. That's not funny. Marcus. I'm not joking. Someone was here. He follows the tracks a few steps. They stop suddenly, mid-trail, as if the person vanished. EXT riverbank later. They find an old wooden sign half buried in mud. The words are faded. Property of Blackwood Research, do not enter. Emma. Research? Out here? Marcus. Military, maybe. Whatever it was, it's long gone. Emma. You sound like you know something. Marcus. Avoiding. Let's just keep moving. EXT woods evening. They wander off the trail, trying to find their way back. The forest looks different. Landmarks seem rearranged. The trees look identical in every direction. Emma checks her compass. The needle spins wildly. Emma. It's not working. Marcus. Magnetic interference. Emma. You mean we're lost? Marcus. Temporarily. EXT Woods nightfall. Darkness descends faster than it should. They light a lantern and continue until Emma stops dead. In front of them stands an abandoned wooden cabin, half hidden by vines and mist. The door hangs crookedly open. Emma. I thought you said this area was empty. Marcus. I did. They approach cautiously. Int. Abandoned cabin continuous. The interior is cluttered with dust, cobwebs, and old furniture. A faint smell of decay. On the walls photographs, pinned in crooked lines. Emma steps closer. Her face drains of color. Each photo shows her and Marcus. Sleeping on the bus. Hiking. Setting up camp. Photos taken from the woods. Emma. Marcus, these are us. He stares in disbelief. Marcus. That's impossible. She picks one up. Her hand trembles. The back of the photo reads. Night 2. Marcus notices another pinned near the window. Night 3. Marcus. Someone's been watching us. A sudden whisper, faint, but clear, ripples through the cabin. Voice, OS. Marcus. He spins around, heart pounding. Emma. Who's there? Nothing. Just the wind. Marcus grabs her hand. Marcus. We're leaving. Now. They rush out the door into the dark. EXT forest night. Their flashlight beams slice through the mist as they sprint down the uneven path. Behind them, whispers rise, voices overlapping, growing louder. Voices, OS. Marcus. Emma, don't leave us. Emma looks back. Shadows flicker between trees, too fast to be human. She stumbles. Marcus catches her. Marcus. Keep moving. The whispers swell into distorted echoes, their own voices calling back at them. EXT forest night. Marcus and Emma run through the dark woods, their flashlights bobbing wildly. Their breaths come in ragged bursts. The whispers chase them, distant but relentless. The light catches branches, roots, flashes of shadow. Every direction looks the same. Emma. Shaking. We can't keep running like this. Marcus. We have to. They stumble through a thicket, breaking into a small clearing. The whispers fade, replaced by heavy silence, unnatural, like the forest is holding its breath. Marcus lowers the flashlight. His face glistens with sweat. Emma. Marcus, what was that? Marcus. I don't know. Could be an echo, the wind. Emma. No. It said our names. She clutches her camera tight, as if it's the only thing keeping her grounded. EXT clearing continuous. The flashlight flickers. Marcus slaps it steadies, then goes out completely. Marcus. Damn it. They sit in the dark. The forest around them feels alive, whispering through the trees, creaking, breathing. Suddenly a faint light glows ahead. Emma. Whispers. Do you see that? Marcus nods. They approach cautiously. The light pulses faintly from a ridge beyond the trees, soft and golden, like a lantern. EXT ridge. Moments later. They climb, slipping on moss and wet soil. At the top stands a metal pole driven deep into the earth, a small signal beacon, flickering on and off, half buried under vines. Marcus. What the hell? He brushes away dirt. A faint logo is etched into the metal, Blackwood Research Division. Emma. Same name as the sign near the river. Marcus. Yet. Military contractor. Used to work with them, years ago. Emma. You never told me that. Marcus. Didn't think it mattered. Emma. It does now. What were they doing here? Marcus doesn't answer. He looks toward the distant woods, eyes hard, haunted. Ext forest later. They find a small dirt road and follow it, hoping it leads to a way out. The moonlight barely cuts through the canopy. Then Emma freezes. Ahead the same cabin stands in the path. Emma. That's impossible, we ran for miles. Marcus. No. It's a different one. Has to be. He steps closer. The cabin looks identical, even the broken window pane. Emma turns pale. Emma. It's the same one. I know it is. Marcus breathes hard, his soldier's instinct kicking in. Marcus. Okay. We go in. Check it out. Emma. No, I can't. Marcus. If we don't, we'll never get out of here. She hesitates, then follows. Int. Cabin continuous. They step inside. Dust motes float in the air, glimmering like ash. The photographs are still pinned to the walls, but there are more of them now. Hundreds. Each photo shows Marcus and Emma, but also something else. A dark figure lurking behind them, growing closer in each image. Emma's voice breaks. Emma. It's getting nearer, every time. Marcus moves closer to one of the pictures, his hand trembles. In one photo, he's standing alone by the river. Behind him, the figure is touching his shoulder. He drops it. Marcus. Someone's playing with us. Emma. Who? There's no one here. The whispers return, faint but layered, overlapping voices. Emma covers her ears. Emma, can't d. Make it stop. Marcus grabs her by the shoulders. Marcus. Hey. Focus on me. Look at me. Her breathing steadies slightly. Marcus, can't d. We'll find a way out. Just stick close. They step outside again, leaving the door open behind them. Ext forest night. The forest seems different now. Trees curve unnaturally. Paths twist back onto themselves. The world bends, looping endlessly. They walk for hours or maybe minutes. Time feels broken. Finally, they spot a faint red glow through the fog. Emma. What's that? Fire? Marcus. Could be a campsite. They hurry toward it. Ext campfire site continuous. A small fire burns in the middle of a clearing, freshly lit. But there's no one there. Their own gear sits nearby. Their tent, their bags, their food perfectly placed as if waiting for them. Emma steps forward slowly, shaking her head. Emma. We left this miles away. Marcus kneels, examining the ashes. They're still warm. Marcus. Someone's been here. Emma. Or, we never left. Her words hang in the air like smoke. Int. Tent later. They sit in silence. The fire outside pops softly. Marcus writes in his notebook coordinates, sketches of trees, attempts to map their route. But every line leads back to the same place, the cabin. Emma. Maybe we're dreaming. Marcus. Dreams don't hurt like this. He flexes his bruised hand from when he fell earlier. Emma. Then what is happening to us? Marcus. I don't know. But something here doesn't want us to leave. A soft wind rustles the tent. Then a faint voice again, clearer this time. Voice, OS. Marcus, why did you leave us? He freezes. His face drains of color. Emma. Who is that? Marcus doesn't answer. He stares into nothing. Voice, OS, can't d. You were supposed to save us. Emma grabs his arm. Emma. Marcus, who are they talking about? He clenches his fists. Marcus. My unit. Afghanistan. They didn't make it. The voice grows louder, almost right outside the tent. Voice, OS. You left us to die. Emma's eyes widen in terror. Emma. That's not real. It's not real. Marcus. Shouting. Shut up. The voice stops. Total silence. EXT forest dawn. A cold light seeps through the trees. Marcus stands alone by the river, staring at his reflection. His face looks older, drawn, haunted. Emma approaches, quiet. Emma. You didn't leave them. He doesn't answer. Emma, can't d. Whatever's here, it's using our pain. Marcus. And it knows exactly where to strike. He looks at her. Marcus, can't d. What's it showing you? Emma hesitates. Emma. My father. He used to come here when I was little. He died in these woods. Marcus. This same forest? Emma. Yes. Mom said he went missing during a storm. They never found him. A long pause. The wind carries a faint hum, almost melodic. Emma, can't d. Do you hear that? Marcus. Yet. They follow the sound through the trees. EXT old lab site day. They emerge into a clearing, ruins of a research facility overgrown with vines and moss. Concrete foundations, rusted pipes, shattered windows. A collapsed sign reads. Blackwood Research Signal Resonance Division. Marcus moves through the rubble, scanning the debris. Emma. Signal resonance? What does that mean? Marcus. They were experimenting with radio waves, trying to capture electromagnetic echoes. Memories. Voices from the environment. Emma. You mean, ghosts? Marcus. Not exactly. But maybe they opened something. She kneels, brushing dirt from a metal console. It flickers faintly to life, a green pulse on the monitor. Emma. Marcus, it's still on. He looks closer. The screen shows coordinates, their exact location. Marcus. It's tracking us. The monitor flashes. Subject's active observation continues. Emma stumbles back. Emma. We're the experiment. Marcus smashes the console with a rock, sparks burst, then silence. EXT forest dusk. They make camp near the ruins. The sun bleeds orange through the trees. Emma sits quietly, staring at her camera. She scrolls through the photos again. In the last one she sees her father, standing behind her in the frame. She gasps, nearly drops the camera. Marcus. What is it? She turns the screen toward him. Emma. He's here. Marcus studies it. The man's face is pale, distant. Marcus. It's not him. It's what the forest wants you to see. Emma. But what if it's real? What if he's trapped here too? Marcus doesn't answer. The trees creak softly as if reacting to their fear. EXT forest night. Later, Emma wakes to soft footsteps outside the tent. She peers through the flap. A silhouette stands near the trees, the shape of her father. Emma. Dad? The figure doesn't move. She steps out quietly, barefoot, trembling. Emma, can't d. It's me. Emma. The figure tilts its head, then turns and walks into the fog. She follows, ignoring Marcus's sleeping form. EXT foggy trail continuous. The fog thickens. The figure moves ahead, always just out of reach. Emma. Please, wait. A whisper echoes from all directions. Voice, OS. Stay. She stops. The forest hums with invisible energy, alive, aware. Suddenly Marcus's voice cuts through the mist. Marcus, OS. Emma. Don't move. He rushes toward her, grabbing her arm. Marcus, can't d. It's not him. Look. She turns, the figure's face flickers, melting into static before vanishing completely. Emma breaks down, sobbing. Emma. It wanted me to follow. Marcus. That's how it feeds. Through grief. Through guilt. EXT Forest later. They sit by the dying fire, exhausted, hollow-eyed. Emma. What do we do now? Marcus. We survive the night. Then we find a way out. Emma. And if there isn't one? Marcus looks at her, determination flickering beneath despair. Marcus. Then we make one. He looks toward the darkness where the trees shift like breathing things. The whispers return, soft, rhythmic, calling their names again. The sky is swallowed by clouds. Moonlight flickers through the branches like a dying candle. Marcus and Emma tread carefully over the uneven ground, the crunch of dead leaves echoing in the silence. Emma. Whispering. It feels like the woods are watching us. Marcus. It's just the wind. Trees shift. Sound bounces. That's all. But even as he says it, his voice trembles. His eyes dart toward the shadows between the trunks. Suddenly, a faint whisper drifts through the cold air. Voice, OS. Marcus, help me. Marcus freezes. That voice unmistakable. A voice he hasn't heard in years. Marcus. Turning, eyes wide. No. That's not possible. Emma. What? What did you hear? Marcus. Swallows hard. A friend. From, before. He's dead, Emma. He's been dead for years. Another voice, softer this time, a man's broken whisper seems to move between the trees. Voice, OS. You left me there, you left me to die. Marcus stumbles backward, flashlight trembling in his grip. The beam shakes, slicing through the mist. Emma. Marcus, there's no one here. Listen to me, okay? We just need to keep moving until morning. She reaches for him, but the air between them seems to shift, thick and heavy. The forest hums with unseen life like 1,000 eyes opening in the dark. EXT forest path continuous. They walk faster now. Emma leads the way, clutching her backpack, while Marcus keeps glancing behind. Then another whisper. This time, it's a different voice. A familiar one. Voice, OS. Emma. Emma stops dead. Her breath catches in her throat. Emma. That sounded like my dad. Marcus looks at her, confused and afraid. Marcus. Your dad? Emma, your dad's been. Emma. Quietly. Gone. Yet. I know. The voice calls again. Closer. Voice, OS. Emma, don't be afraid, come home. Emma's eyes fill with tears. She takes a step toward the sound, hypnotized. Marcus. Grabbing her arm. No. Don't. It's not real. Emma. But it sounds like him. Marcus. That's what it wants. EXT clearing night. They stumble into a small clearing. In the center stands a wooden cross, half buried in the soil. It looks handmade, rough, uneven, and old. At the base of the cross lies a rusted camera, its lens cracked and covered in mud. Emma kneels, brushing dirt from its surface. There's a roll of undeveloped film still inside. Emma. Why would someone just leave this here? Marcus. Or, maybe they didn't get the chance to take it. A sound behind them, a snap of a twig. They turn. Flashlight beams through the dark. Nothing. Only fog curling between the trees. Emma's breathing quickens. Emma. Let's just go. Please. Marcus. Wait. He crouches and finds footprints fresh, deep, and human. They lead away from the clearing, toward a narrow path hidden by brush. Marcus looks at Emma. Marcus. Someone's out here. EXT deeper into the forest night. They follow the trail. The air grows colder. Every sound is sharper, every rustle feels intentional. The trees here are older, thicker, their bark etched with strange symbols, circles, lines, and crosses carved deep into the wood. Emma. What do these mean? Marcus. Looks like some kind of marking. Maybe hikers. Or. He stops. One of the symbols has their initials carved below it. Marcus. Reading. M&E. Emma steps closer, trembling. Emma. Marcus, that's us. He stares at the carving. Fresh wood beneath the cut. Someone made this recently. Marcus. We need to leave. Now. They turn back, but the trail behind them has vanished. The forest has shifted again. EXT forest later that night. The flashlight dies. Total darkness. Marcus clicks it repeatedly, nothing. Emma takes out her phone. No signal. No light. Then, faintly in the distance, a glow. Soft. Warm. Flickering. Like firelight. Emma. There's something up ahead. They move toward it, pushing through branches until they see it clearly. A small wooden cabin, half collapsed, windows broken, light seeping through the cracks. Marcus. Finally. Shelter. Emma. Are we sure it's empty? Marcus. We'll find out. Int. Abandoned cabin night. The door creaks open. Dust drifts through the air like mist. Marcus sweeps his flashlight across the walls and freezes. Every inch of wood is covered with photographs. Dozens. Maybe hundreds. Each photo shows Marcus and Emma on the bus, at the gas station, walking through the forest, even sleeping in their tent. Emma's mouth opens, but no sound comes out. Emma. Oh my God. Marcus approaches the wall, trembling fingers touching one of the photos. The image shows him sitting by the campfire smiling. But in the background, behind the trees, a silhouette stands watching. Marcus. Someone's been following us. Emma. Who took these? When? She picks up a photo lying on the floor, one they haven't seen yet. It shows the cabin, from outside. Through the window, you can see Marcus and Emma standing exactly where they are now. Emma. Marcus. Marcus. Turn slowly. Yet. I see it. A soft click echoes behind them. The unmistakable sound of a camera shutter. Marcus spins around, flashlight shaking, but there's no one there. The faint smell of rot and old wood fills the air. Dust motes float like ghosts through the flashlight beam. Marcus swings the light toward the corners, empty. The silence presses against their ears like static. Emma. Whispering. Marcus, that sound. It came from inside. Marcus. Nodding slowly. Yet. I heard it. He moves cautiously across the creaking floorboards, sweeping the flashlight along the wall of photographs again. Some of the pictures have small pins and strings connecting them, forming a web-like pattern. Each string leads to the center of the wall where a larger photo is pinned. Marcus steps closer, squinting. It's a close-up of his face, eyes wide, terrified, mouth half open. The expression is identical to the one he's wearing right now. He drops the light. It rolls on the floor, the beam spinning wildly. Emma. Marcus? What is it? Marcus. Stammering. This photo, it's now. It's me right now. Emma bends to pick up the flashlight and notices something else. The floor beneath them is covered in faint footprints, leading toward a small trapdoor near the far wall. Emma. Marcus, there's something under here. He kneels beside her. The metal latch is rusted but slightly bent like it's been opened recently. Marcus pries it open. The hinges scream. A cold draft rises from below, carrying the smell of damp earth and something else metallic. Blood, maybe. Emma. Do we really need to look? Marcus. If someone's down there taking pictures of us, yet. We do. He shines the flashlight down. A wooden staircase descends into darkness. Int. Cabin basement continuous. The air grows colder with every step. Water drips somewhere unseen. The sound echoes like slow heartbeats. Marcus reaches the bottom and stops. The walls are covered with photographic film strips, hundreds of them hanging from lines like drying laundry. Each strip glows faintly red under a small darkroom bulb. Emma moves closer, running her hand along one strip, her fingers trembling. Emma. These are all of us. Look, that's the gas station. That's the forest, that's... Her voice trails off. The next strip shows them inside the cabin, opening the trapdoor. Exactly what they're doing now. Marcus. That's impossible. We just... Emma. Marcus, it's recording us. A soft mechanical whirring starts from the far side of the room. They turn, the flashlight reveals an old film projector, sitting on a tripod, running on its own. A beam of light hits the wall. Footage flickers to life, grainy, black and white. They see themselves on screen, walking, sleeping, arguing. But then the footage shifts. The images start showing moments that haven't happened yet. Marcus shouting. Emma crying. The cabin burning. Emma. Stepping back. This isn't real, it can't be. Marcus. Then why do I remember none of this? Int. Cabin basement continuous. The projector sputters. The reel jams. The light flickers erratically, casting monstrous shadows across the walls. Something moves behind the hanging film strips. A dark figure, tall, motionless, just watching. Marcus. Pointing. Emma, do you see that? She turns. Nothing there. The figure is gone. Emma. You're scaring me, Marcus. Marcus. I'm not, it was right there. I saw. Suddenly, the light cuts out. Total darkness. Then, from somewhere in the black. Whisper, OS. Marcus. He swings the flashlight on again. The figure now stands inches away, face hidden behind a torn camera bag worn like a mask. Marcus stumbles back, grabs Emma's hand, and bolts toward the stairs. Int. Cabin continuous. They burst through the trapdoor, slamming it shut behind them. Marcus shoves a chair over it, panting. Emma. Crying. What was that thing? Marcus. I don't know. But it's not following us anymore. They both freeze as they hear it again, a camera click from upstairs. Emma. It's not below us, it's above. Int. Cabin upper floor. Moments later. Each step groans beneath their feet. They reach a hallway lined with broken doors and collapsed beams. The smell of decay grows stronger. Marcus pushes open the first door, revealing a bedroom. Inside, dozens of camera lenses are mounted on tripods, all aimed toward the window. Each lens has a faint red light blinking. He approaches one and notices the feed is still active, streaming to an old CRT monitor in the corner. On the screen, Marcus and Emma, standing in the room right now. Emma. That's us. Marcus. Someone's been watching. Recording every second. The monitor flickers. Static. Then a distorted image appears, a figure wearing the camera mask, looking directly at the lens. It tilts its head. Voice, OS. Smiling tone. Don't look away. The screen goes black. Int. Cabin staircase night. They rush down the stairs, but the door to the outside is locked. Marcus throws his shoulder against it, nothing. He kicks it again, still locked. Emma. We're trapped. Marcus. Then we'll find another way. He looks toward the window, but the forest outside looks different now. The trees have moved closer, surrounding the cabin completely. Emma. Marcus. I don't think we ever left. Int. Cabin living room continuous. Marcus kneels by the wall of photos again, frantically pulling them down. Marcus. There has to be something, a clue, a message, anything. Emma crouches beside him and finds a Polaroid lying under the debris. It's new, still developing. The faint outline of two people begins to appear. Marcus and Emma. But in the photo, behind them, the masked figure stands between them, one hand on each shoulder. Emma. Marcus. Before she can finish, a loud bang erupts from the basement door. The chair jerks, scraping across the floor. Another bang. Louder. Marcus grabs the camera from the wall and raises it like a weapon. Emma. What are you doing? Marcus. Maybe it wants us to see. He lifts the camera and snaps a picture toward the trapdoor. The flash bursts, illuminating the whole cabin in a blinding white. For a split second, he sees it clearly. The masked figure. Standing halfway up the stairs. Reaching for him. Then darkness. Silence. Emma breathes hard, shaking. Emma. Marcus? No answer. She turns slowly. The flashbulb fades. Marcus is gone.